Good evening, and welcome to the Clark Council meeting of October 21st of 2024. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilman Hund.
Here.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Here.
Councilman Minetti. Here. Councilman O'Connor.
Here.
Councilman Smith.
Here.
Councilman Toll.
Here.
Council President Albanese.
Here. I'd like to ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, as adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by mailing the annual schedule of meetings to the Star-Ledger, Union County Hawk, Union County Local Source, and Tappan to Clark, by posting such annual meeting schedule on the bulletin board in Town Hall reserved for such announcements, the official website of the Township, and the proper filing of said notice. Formal action may be taken at this meeting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Council, may I have a motion to suspend the regular order of business?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. Thank you, Councilman Hund. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, at this time, we're going to proceed with the oath of office for our new police officer, Michael Cipriani. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our meeting tonight. We have a little busy early start with the swearing in of a new police officer, awards to two great members of our first aid squad. I'd like to welcome Chief Barnwell and the PD that are here tonight, members of the first aid squad, and of course the citizens of the community. We're going to start with swearing in a new officer tonight. I want to welcome him to town and wish him nothing but a great 30 years here, and of course to go home safe after every tour. That's Michael Cipriani. Welcome, Michael. Would you like to bring anybody up with you to get sworn in? Come on up, folks. Feel free, more than welcome. Would you like to hold the Bible? Okay. Put your right hand on the Bible. You okay? You want to move in a little bit? Okay, and you can repeat after me. I, Michael Cipriano,
I, Michael Cipriani,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of New Jersey,
and the state of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments
in
established
the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of office of police officer
all the duties of the office of police officer
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability
Township of Clark,
for the Township of Clark,
State of New Jersey.
State of New Jersey.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations and welcome. You got to read this, right? Yeah. I went a little bit out of order because they had my sheet on top of his sheet, so age before beauty, I guess. But anyway, Captain Akabo, our patrol commander, would like to read a little bio about Michael, and which should have been done first, but again, he put his on the bottom. So what are you going to do, right? Okay, come on up, Cap.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Sal Bonacorso, Business Administrator Jim Ulrich, Madam Council President Angel Albanese, Council members, Township Clerk Edith Merkel, distinguished guests, family, friends, and community members. But before we begin, please help me welcoming and joining us the Union County Prosecutor's Office Chief of Detectives, Chief Harvey Barnwell. And we also have retired Captain Kevin White as well. So Chief Barnwell and his team, Lieutenant Santos, have been a staple in our agency since July of 2020, with fostering our agency with a culture of transparency, accountability, and professionalism. I would like to thank personally the mayor, business administrator, and the council members for their unwavering support of the police department and hiring of our newest police officers, so thank you. So it is my great pleasure to welcome our newest officer, Police Officer Michael Cipriani, badge 504. Officer Cipriani was raised in Carteret with his parents, David and Victoria, and his brother Anthony. He graduated from Carteret High School in 2013. After high school, he pursued his passion for law enforcement, enrolling in Middlesex County College for a police science degree. Officer Cipriani entered the police academy in Seagirt, New Jersey, and went on to successfully graduate in 2013. Officer Cipriani brings valuable experience to our department, having served as a juvenile corrections officer for the Juvenile Justice Commission, then transferring on to Middlesex County Sheriff's Department in August of 2022, where he demonstrated commitment, integrity, and a deep sense of responsibilities to those under his care. Officer Cipriani enjoys watching sports. He is a dedicated New York Rangers, New York Yankees, and New York Giants fan. 2 out of the 3 I do not like. On his off time, he enjoys working out at the gym, fishing, and spending quality time with his family and friends. And Officer Cipriani is engaged to be married to his fiancée, Monica. So we are excited to have you. Welcome to the Clark Police Department. Thank you.
Pin the badge. Be careful, he doesn't have his vest on. I don't need an on-the-job injury right away. Squad's here, that's good. Okay, thank you. Come on in, folks. Squish down.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, this is amazing, I want to say to you, that we're going to be honoring tonight 2 members of the Volunteer First Aid Squad. And folks, this is what Clark is about. There's no doubt in my mind. 50 years of volunteer service. Now, the men and the ladies of the squad, like our fire department, volunteers, our PD, of course, is paid, and they all do one thing, is serve the community unwavering each and every day. Our PD is out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No matter what the weather is, they're there. Our volunteer fire department and our first aid squad are there when that plectron goes off and calls them to service. And to volunteer for anything is just unbelievable, and we're thankful as a mayor and council, you know, whether it be coaching sports or right up to first aid or fire or everything in between. It's great to have residents this way. But when I heard that Alan Riley and Gary Wagner both have 50 years in the Clark First Aid Squad, that blew me away. And I wanted to honor them here tonight in front of the community, in front of the members of council, to let you all know the kind of people we have in this great community of ours. They never say no. They're out there. They're there for you. The squad is a volunteer organization, as I said earlier. The squad also is really autonomous to the township. The fire department is under the township purview. The squad is not. And when I first became mayor, I found that to be a little unusual. Then I was explained the law and how it works. And we give them a donation each and every year out of the tax budget, out of our municipal budget, and we turn around at that point and we have them go out, and they were raising money. Fundraising's been dwindled a lot over the years. And also then we've turned around and we worked with them to bring in a billing system to the insurance companies to help them out. I'm proud to say I was the first mayor to ever purchase an ambulance for them versus them having to raise money. I think we're going to be going on our third, if my memory is correct. 2 already and another one coming. And that's the least we can do for these men and women who serve our community. It was hard over the years to get volunteers because everybody is working today. Years ago, people had maybe a husband work, wife home. They volunteered during the day. I remember as a child growing up, I saw a lot of squad female members during the day covering. And at one time, our daytime coverage was down minimal. And I heard of a call where somebody was hit and they were waiting for another squad to come from out of town. No fault to our members because they're out working. They had no one for daytime coverage. And Jim Ulrich was on the squad then and a council member, and we worked with the squad to bring in EMTs during the day. And the amazing thing about that, I think if I remember correctly, we started them out at $10 an hour. Am I right on that, about $10 an hour? And what they did, when $10 was $10, not anymore, can't get you McDonald's, but anyhow, they would sit, and they were college students, would sit in the squad house. They'd get to study, watch TV, take a nap, whatever they wanted to do, and when the alarm went off, they went out. And then we were covering with our volunteers from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And it's worked out very well. So I'd like to both bring up Alan and Gary right now, and I'll have the clerk read your proclamation into the record, and then we'll present it with you. And on behalf of myself and the citizens and all the people here in the squad, in the community, we're so grateful and we thank you so much. Come on up. Madam Clerk.
Whereas Alan Riley has been a member of the Clark Volunteer Emergency Squad, and whereas it is with deep appreciation and respect that we commend him and his unparalleled 50 years of exemplary service as a volunteer for the Clark Volunteer Emergency Squad. And whereas since joining the ranks in September 1974, Alan has been a cornerstone of our emergency response team, embodying the spirit of selfless service and unwavering commitment. And whereas Alan's journey with our organization has been marked by exceptional contributions, including his vital role in overseeing the care and maintenance of our ambulances, and whereas his meticulous attention to detail and relentless efforts ensure that our fleet remained in optimal condition, directly contributing to the safety and efficiency of our operations. And whereas in addition to his responsibilities with ambulances, he served as line officer and a trustee on the executive board for many years. His leadership and strategic vision has been instrumental in guiding our organization through both challenging and prosperous times. His wisdom and hard work have left an indelible mark on our operations and our community. And whereas his dedication to his role and his enduring commitment to our organization are a testament to his exceptional character and professionalism. His contributions have not only enhanced the effectiveness of our emergency response services, but have also inspired those around him to strive for excellence. Now therefore be it resolved that Mayor Sal Bonacorso of the Township of Clark does hereby honor and salute Alan Riley for his exemplary service and dedication. His legacy of excellence will continue to influence and guide our organization for years to come. Okay. Next is Gary Wagner. Whereas Gary Wagner, AKA Garfield, has been a member of the Clark Volunteer Emergency Squad, and whereas it is with immense pride and gratitude that we recognize him for his remarkable 50 years of dedicated service as a Clark Volunteer Emergency Squad member, and whereas since joining the ranks in September 1974, Gary has exemplified unwavering commitment, exceptional skill, and a deep sense of duty. And whereas his journey with our squad has been marked by his outstanding role as a crew chief and his ongoing active participation in our operations. And whereas he is currently assigned to Friday nights and his dedication extends far beyond his scheduled shifts, he has consistently gone above and beyond, not only fulfilling his duty night, but also covering a majority of daytime calls, ensuring our community receives the highest level of emergency care at all hours. And whereas Gary's willingness to step up during critical times is unparalleled, he is known for being the first to volunteer for holiday coverage, and his presence at Township events for standby support is a testament to his dedication and reliability. And whereas his selflessness and readiness to serve have made a profound impact on both our squad and the community we serve, in celebrating Gary Wagner's 50 years of exemplary service, we honor not only his significant contributions, but also the spirit of altruism and excellence that he brings to our team. His enduring commitment and exceptional service are an inspiration to all. Now therefore be it resolved that Mayor Sal Bonacorso of the Township of Clark does hereby extend our deepest appreciation to Gary Wagner for his extraordinary service and dedication. His legacy of service and leadership will continue to inspire and guide our organization for generations to come.
Congratulations, gentlemen, and I'd love to say another 50, but we'll get whatever we can get. We can't plan, at our ages, we can't plan too far ahead, right?
Another 100.
Another 100, I'm into that. 100 years between them, how about that, huh?
Okay.
They were here before Band-Aids were made. Let them go to the back. One more. Thank you again, gentlemen. Yeah, if the squad would like to come up, please do. We have members that are here. Come on up. Yeah, you know what? Would you want to say something too? Okay, folks, quickly, Gary would like to say something real quick. Gary?
Okay. Yeah, I joined the squad back in 1974, as they said, just as when I saw the ambulances back in that time, right after I graduated high school. And I figured let me join because I wanted to give a thank you because the squad, over my time growing up as a child, the ambulance had come out to our house several times, and that's what made me get involved, but never thought I was going to be here that long. But basically, I just wanted to thank the Township of Clark, the council here, for inviting us here tonight, and along with the support they've given to the squad financially, along with the LoSAP program that they started giving us, which is like some money they put into like a pension type retirement account as a thank you, so I want to thank them for that. And just thank the First Aid Squad and all the members, present and previous, because without all the members of the squad, I wouldn't be able to be here tonight, because the squad wouldn't be in existence. And also thanking the entire town for people who have donated and supported the squad over the years, because without the town's support and public support, the squad wouldn't be in existence. But thank you.
Wait for Councilman O'Connor. Hey, Les? Wait for Councilman O'Connor's the liaison. He's coming forward.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
If you want to mention coffee,
Squad's going to have a little coffee party celebration. If any of you like to go, you're invited to go over on Raritan Road. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, if there's anyone wishing to leave, they're welcome to. If you'd like to stay, you're invited to stay. Congratulations to everyone.
Congratulations.
Okay. Council, I'd like a motion to resume the regular
moved.
order of business. Thank you, Councilman Toll. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. All right, at this time, we'll move on to communications from the mayor and reports of township officers. Mayor?
Thank you very much, Madam President. I'd like to welcome everybody here again tonight. First off, I'd like to start off with the Unico feast that was just held. I'd like to thank all the members of Unico, Joe Rancio, President, Ralph Bernardo, Vice President, the rest of the Executive Board, and, of course, the members, but more importantly, everyone who attended and had a very good time. This great fundraiser that Unico has started, I believe it's 17 years ago, is now a staple in the community. And the beauty about this is the Unicans basically give all the money back to the community in the way of grants, scholarships, helps to police, fire, first aid, special youth organizations, and our rec department, and everything else you can think of. So I know these volunteers work very hard from Thursday to Sunday. I thank the Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts who were there on Columbus Day Monday to clean up by 10 o'clock in the morning. It didn't look like we even had a festival going on for 4 days, so I want to thank everybody for that. I'd like to thank Ralph Bernardo and all who participated in Trunk or Treat, and all the little ones who came out and enjoyed their few hours on a wonderful hot Saturday afternoon. I'd like to also mention with Halloween coming up, children will be going door to door. The police department will be in neighborhoods patrolling as always, but I would also like to ask, please try to end by dusk. There's seniors and people really do not like answering their doors once it gets dark. So please, if you can, end by the time it starts getting dusk out there. The clock will be changing shortly thereafter. This way, too, motorists can see you. You can have a clear vision to them with your masks on, and it's meant to have a fun day, and we don't want to see anybody get injured. Leaf cleanup has begun in the community. There are no more branches allowed out in the street. We have had a branch cleanup from March 17th till September 30th. And we are asking you at this point, if you have branches, to please collect them on your property to the spring. If there's a major storm of any kind, then we would set up a special cleanup as we've done in the past. Please try to adhere, keep the branches out of the leaf piles. They're not allowed in twigs and branches in the leaf pile. The leaf schedule will start the first week in November, wards 1 and 2, the second week, ward 3 and 4, so on and so forth. In the beginning, if there are not a lot of leaves down and they get done with the first and second ward a day or two earlier, they might start in the third and fourth, but they'll start again on that Monday. This way people have an idea of when they're coming and what day they got to get them out by. It makes it better to put them out. We clean them up and they don't blow back. We do the school areas every Monday morning so parents dropping their children off do not have to park in leaf piles and have a problem with that. I'd like to remind everybody on November 5th is Election Day. Please get out to vote. I'd like to thank Superintendent Ed Grande and the Board of Education, Township Council, all the veterans and patriots who appeared and participated, the Johnson football team, cheerleaders, band, and all its fans in Patriots Night. It was a great night to honor our patriots of this great community. I want to thank you very much for all that. On another positive note, I'd like to give a big shout out to Superintendent of Schools Ed Grande, the Board of Education, and Mr. Tom Lewis of the Board of Education, who worked very hard to obtain a grant for preschool free preschool here in Clark. That's the key word, free, for ages 3, 4, and 5, if you don't make the cut to go to school by 5 years old, depending on the cutoff date. This was given by a grant by the state of New Jersey for a 5-year period. If they run the program right, they'll have a grant for another 5-year period, and which I'm convinced they will do. They have been out talking to locations to house it here in town, first and foremost. And the beauty about this, it's an early learning education for these young boys and girls at 3, 4, and 5. And they are certified teachers who are teaching them. It's not just a babysitting day. It's hopefully for 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, there's some learning going on to educate these young children right from the start to give them a great foundation. Every house has to be built with a great foundation, and that's what they're trying to do here. It was amazing we got this. I know in some of the urban communities, this is a way of life. Here in suburban communities, not so much. And also, if you look at the Clark School District, and a lot can be said, and I always say positively, we also have full-day kindergarten. Some of the towns that are touching our community, such as Cranford and Westfield, do not have that. And Cranford, I believe, has just come into it, done in a lottery system from what I've been told. We do not have a lottery system here, so we're having this from 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. So to Superintendent Grande, Mr. Lewis, and the rest of the Board of Education, from the community, thank you so much for your hard work and giving our youngsters a real great educational foundation going forward. And I think this will also do wonders for the housing prices in our community going forward, because I'm sure if you're looking for a house and you can get free preschool here, that saves parents somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000 a month. That's a lot of money, and I think our town will be very desirable as it is today. But again, thank you so much for that, and great job, and look forward to seeing the program begin. On a not so nice note tonight, there's always one bad announcement, and this is our new affordable housing numbers have come out. And Clark Township, according to the great state of New Jersey, are now responsible for an additional 166 affordable units here in town, on top of the 170 units that were mandated to Clark in the first round. That leaves us with a grand total of 336 affordable units. By that number, we would have to add about 2,200 apartments into this community, okay, going forward. Now, here's the good news about it. As property becomes available that is designated, that's when these units can be proposed to be built. Some of us here in this room may never even see it. God only knows. This isn't going to happen tomorrow or next year, but this is the long-term plan. Our governor, other members of his party, bang their hand on the table and say, we need more affordable housing. Well, maybe so, but I don't think Union County, and I'll use the whole county the way I know it's developed, not only Clark, needs to jam our communities with housing. So by June 30th of 25, the mayor, BA, and the council is going to have to work with their planner and engineer to come up with a plan to where, if certain properties were sold, where would they possibly go? And we have to have that plan. Without that plan, you lose your affordable housing protection. And what can happen to Clark, which we never do, was what happened in Millburn. Millburn did not file their plan and thumb their nose to it, to say it in a street tone. And a developer went to court, and not only did the judge say, I'm going to give it to them, I'm going to tell you how many units and where it's at. They lost their protection, which we can never afford to happen in Clark. We will be meeting with our planner and our engineer to start to try to carve out a plan to see what is the most feasible way to recommend this program going forward. I personally do not support this whatsoever, but as mayor, we will have to protect the community, which is first and foremost. It's not my opinion that counts here. It's what's right for the township. And this is more of putting 10 pounds of bologna in a 5-pound bag as far as I'm concerned. There is no need for this in Clark. There is no need for this in Union County. I know Jim has some numbers from other communities that even have a bigger, what's Westfield, about over 400 units?
Westfield is 397.
More. 397 more units. So when you see these monstrosities going up, you can thank our friends in Trenton for their love for affordable housing. Maybe someday we'll have a governor that'll put this back into the cities where it belongs, where people that can't afford to pay the rents that are the going rate could have mass transit, be able to walk to jobs and do things of that nature. You look at Clark, we don't have that really kind of community with mass transit and where people can walk to jobs. There's certain jobs, of course, but I mean, think about the people out in the sticks of New Jersey, because this affects the entire state. It's not just Clark or Union County. This is the entire state of New Jersey has a mandate. So when you hear these numbers and say, I'm going to move, that's okay if you're going out of state. If you're staying in state, you're going to deal with it somewhere else. So I look at areas like, let's say, Tewksbury and those areas, like, they're going to build an apartment out in the middle of a farm, some of the farmland in New Jersey. How are they getting to work? How are they going to be getting into mass transit? It's ridiculous. So we'll be dealing with that number, folks. Again, I don't want to create a panic where people are going to start saying, there's going to be 2,100 new apartments, 2,200 new apartments coming to Clark by next year. That's not happening. But we're going to have to designate land, and that's where they got the communities by the earlobes. It's not about available vacant land or areas in need of redevelopment. This is about what would you do in this tract of land if this sold out and they wanted to sell it to a builder? So it's a little tricky. It's a lot of work, but we'll get it done. And that concludes my report for tonight. Sorry about the last piece of bad news.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, we'll move on to the report of council committees. Councilman Hund?
Thank you, Madam President. I have the September 2024 Clark Police Department monthly summary. We saw a total of 1,832 calls for service, including but not limited to 102 ambulance requests, 1 for arrival requests, which is mental health behavior emergency calls, 6 fire department requests, 7 motor vehicle and resident lockouts, 67 alarm calls, 81 motor vehicle accidents, 22 shoplifting and theft, 14 fraud and identity theft, 209 were 9/11 calls, and 1,135 were miscellaneous calls. There were a total of 22 adult arrests, including but not limited to 8 for shoplifting, 5 for warrants, 1 for simple assault, 2 for DUI, 2 for burglary, and 1 for possession of CDS. The Youth Bureau handled a total of 13 cases, including but not limited to 1 for theft, 3 for offenses against the family, 1 for terroristic threats, 1 for disorderly conduct, and 13 were all 13 were all in-house dispositions. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman Hund. Councilman Mazzarella?
Yes, Madam President, thank you. This is my DPW report for October. To dovetail on a few things that the mayor had mentioned. The last electronics drop-off will be October 26th from 9 to 1 p.m., 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the DPW yard behind this building. This is the last one for this year. Grass pickup has ended for the season. Branch pickup is complete as well. However, our DPW crew made a sweep throughout the entire town. So please, if you have any other branches, please remove them from the roadway. There will be no branches picked up until spring cleanup in March 2025. So remember that, please. Bulky and appliance pickup. Appointments are required the week before your scheduled pickup week. October is the final month. This month is the final month for bulky and appliance pickup. Make a note of that, please. Leaf pickup starts October 28th through December 19th. And I believe if you have grass clippings, you can mix it in with the leaves. But please leave 1 foot distance from the leaves to your curb. This will allow for proper water runoff. And please, no branches. The piles will not be picked up if there are any branches mixed in with them. Just make a note of that as well, please. Root mulch is still available. Deliveries on Fridays. Schedule your delivery by Thursdays, please. DPW has been still making available outside our gate 16-inch free wood for the taking. Please do not make a mess, and when the bin is empty, we will replenish it. No log splitters or chainsaws are allowed. And if you need any other information, either email dpw@ourclark.com for more information, or dpw@ourclark.com for schedule of the pickups. But I'd like to give a special shout out to our DPW crew. They have been doing an excellent job for this community, servicing our community. I've spoken to a number of residents around, and they're very happy with the quick response our crew has been giving our community. Very good job. Thank you very much. That's the extent of my report.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Councilman Minetti.
Thank you, Council President. In the month of September, the Clark Fire Department responded to 36 calls totaling 394 for the year. The calls included but are not limited to numerous odor and alarm calls. 2 calls were for mutual aids from other towns. 1 call was for a 2-car motor vehicle accident on the Garden State Parkway where passengers had to be extracted. 1 call for a mulch fire and 1 call for other home-related fire. As always, I'd like to thank the members of the Clark Fire Department for their hard work and dedication in keeping our town safe. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman Minetti. Councilman O'Connor.
Thank you. From the Finance Committee, the Township continues to be able to meet its current obligations. And from the Clark Volunteer Emergency Squad, the squad provided medical coverage for the Battle of the Bands competition held at ALJ. The squad participated in the 9/11 memorial service, and the squad had coverage at the high school Friday night football games. Their call volume was as follows. There were 105 calls in September with 3 mutual aid calls. Total hours responding to calls is approximately 630 man-hours. This does not include any hours when members are on duty when not on calls. And the year-to-date call volume is 1,131 calls. With regard to membership, anyone interested in becoming a member can email the squad at www.ourclark.com, and the applications can be found on that site. The squad is looking for associate members. These are members that support the efforts of the squad with social media, public relations, recruitment efforts, etc., but do not respond to calls. If interested, please reach out to them, the squad, at their website, ourclark.com. Servicing the community. We hosted 2 blood drives in September. Please check the lawn sign for upcoming blood drives. And they are so proud to honor the selflessness of Gary Wagner and Alan Riley, who celebrated an unbelievable 50 years of membership and dedication to the squad and to the people that they serve. Respectfully submitted, Lori Sheldon, trustee. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman O'Connor. Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Madam President. Before I get into the recreation report, I would also like to thank all the volunteers who gave their time for the Unico Italian Festival. There were thousands of people there over the 4-day event, which ran Thursday through Sunday. All the money raised, as the mayor mentioned, does get given back to the schools in the form of scholarships to high school seniors, and as well as philanthropic donations to some local and national charities, as well as all the various organizations in town. On to recreation. The annual Christmas tree and menorah lighting will be held on Saturday, November 30th from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. on the Brewer Municipal Grounds. There'll be pictures with Santa, carolers, Kumpf Middle School and ALJ High School bands, snacks, refreshments, horse-drawn carriage rides, bounce houses, pony rides, and so much more. The event ends at 6 p.m. sharp with the tree and menorah lighting. The following morning is Breakfast with Santa, which is Sunday, December 1st at the Grand Centurions. There'll be 3 seatings. The event always sells out, so please register early. If you have any questions, you can always contact the Recreation Department and contact Ralph Bernardo at 732-428-8400, or his email is rbernardo@ourclark.com. And all this information is available on the ourclark.com website. And lastly, if you have any children who are interested in recreation basketball or indoor soccer, please register them ASAP. You can either stop at the recreation office or register online. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. Councilman Toll.
Thank you, Madam President. The annual Clark Environmental Commission Reservoir Cleanup was held this last Saturday, October the 19th, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Over 100 participants came out and worked along the shores of our reservoir under the direction of Chairman Mark Hayden and all the members of the Clark Environmental Commission. Working from the morning hours to the afternoon, the Resi Cleanup produced over 150-gallon bags of garbage that were taken from the Resi shores, which included also 2 car tires, a plastic storage container, fencing, and all assorted things of household items. A special thank you from Mark to the following: Troop Pack 145, Troop 75, Cranford Pack 137, R&B Landscaping, ShopRite of Clark, Union County Recycling Department, the Yard of Clark Scotch Plains, Clark Department of Public Works, and Quick Check for their sponsorship and endorsement and participation with the reservoir cleanup. It was another year of success of helping clean up and help Mother Nature. The next report we have from the Clark Historical Society. I'd like to thank, this came from Scott McCabe and the members of the Historical Society that had the 4 Centuries in a Weekend this past weekend. They would like to thank all the citizens who came out and supported the 4 Centuries Weekend, and remind all residents that this Saturday, if you have some free time in your busy schedules, October the 26th, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., the Society will be having their annual fall vendor show, craft show, at the Dr. Robinson. That's at 593 Masson Hill Road. If you have a few minutes, come over and help support Clark history. That's all one more. The other one we'll do later. Thank you, Madam President. That's all I got in committee.
Thank you, Councilman Toll. I'd like to give a report of some of the events that are coming up at the library. Tomorrow night is one of the most popular events that the library holds each year, the New Jersey Paranormal event on Tuesday, 10/22, from 7 to 8 p.m. Try to get there early. I'm sure that event will be packed. Paint a Pumpkin for children 9 and under and younger. That'll be held on Wednesday, October 23rd, this Wednesday, 6:30 to 7:15. Spooky Family Movie Matinee will be held on October 27th from 2 to 3:30. And on Monday, October 28th, for ages 3 to 12, there'll be a Halloween magic show. All these events are listed on the website, so please check them out and check out all the many new makerspace materials that are available for your use. Thank you. That concludes my report on the library. At this time, we'll move on to ordinances, appropriations, and claims. Madam Clerk?
Yes, for the record, there have been no objections received in connection with the proposed ordinance. Ordinance 24-14, an ordinance to amend Article 5 entitled Traffic Regulations of Chapter 347 entitled Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of the Township of Clark.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to open this ordinance for a public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to come forward? Seeing no one, I'd like a motion to close this hearing.
Moved.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councilman Hund. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. At this time, I'd like a motion to adopt the ordinance.
I'll move that.
Thank you, Councilman Manitti. Do I have a second?
Yes, I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Any questions? Otherwise, we'll take the roll. Or do you want to comment, Mr. Ulrich?
Yeah, this is just the don't block the box in front of where the new Starbucks is going. So that was part of the planning board approval. This is just memorializing it so the police department can enforce it.
Okay, Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Manitti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Albanese.
Yes. This time we'll move on to the report on payment of claims from Councilman O'Connor.
Thank you. I have reviewed the bills for the month totaling $301,518.76.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move on to any citizens hearing on the agenda. If there's anyone who wishes to come forward and discuss any items that are on tonight's agenda, please do so at this time. Please give your name and address to the clerk. Thank you.
Hi, John Grease, 30 Parkway Drive. I had a question about number 10, the payment of the tax appeal. It's $220,000. It seems like a lot. If I understand it correctly, that's from the A&P. I guess I was just curious as to, how many years was there a problem, and like what was it, recent years, and also, kind of what happened and what can we do to prevent that? Because
Mr. Greaves, that was the ShopRite property, and it was 2 years.
Sorry, you're right. ShopRite. I didn't mean A&P. ShopRite. You're right. But yeah, so it's the ShopRite. Is it kind of like what years was that? Was that the last few years? What happened? And
That was for years, 2020 as noted on the resolution, and 2021.
okay, so for 2 years they were overcharged $100,000 each year. Because it's a $220,000 return.
Can I answer that?
Go ahead,
The
Council.
property was originally assessed for $5,647,500.
Okay.
The new assessment was $4,473,000, so it was reduced by $1,173,000. That was year 2020.
Okay.
Then in year 2021, the new assessment was $4,326,000, reduction of $1,321,000, and that was for the year 2021. So the reduction was $1,173,000 and $1,321,000 in the 2 years in the property.
So roughly $100,000 each year for a $1 million decrease in value, or 1.7, I don't know. Just curious.
Yes, yes, we can include
So
that.
it's
That
just
was
for 2
held, yes, that was what was authorized by the tax court.
What can we do to, we don't want to do that again. Is it fixed? Do we have it kind of set so that we're?
Assessments vary by market value, so it's really up to the tax assessor who's qualified to assess the property.
Okay, it just seems weird also because, 2020, 2021, that was a time where property values were going up and they were very high those years. So for that to happen seems a little odd. Okay, I appreciate the information you have. I know you can't answer every detail that I'd come up with, especially.
Yeah, let me step in for a second. You're right, property values did go up, but commercial property values did not all go up during that time period, number one, because a lot of people were moving out of their commercial space. The other thing is we did an assessment of the whole town. As part of this township assessment, we had an independent company come in. And like you could appeal your taxes and you get that list, that card every year. Also the businesses can contest their taxes based on the assessment. We do the best. We had an outside independent company do it. And in the end, the tax court sided with them that the value of the property was not as much as the assessor identified. And back to what we've been discussing, I mean, that whole $220,000 comes from the township, and nothing comes back from the county or the school. So it's something we're going to have to deal with in next year's budget.
Okay, thank you for answering as much as you had available. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to come forward on agenda items? Seeing no one, I'd like a motion to close this portion of the meeting. Thank you, Councilman Toll. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. This time, we'll move on to the resolutions. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
First resolution is appointing William Davitt as a member of the Clark Volunteer Fire Department.
Okay, this, as discussed at our workshop meeting, this will be approved, motioned and seconded by the entire council. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, would you call the roll?
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Maniti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Albanese.
Yes. So we are very pleased to accept the application of William Davitt and congratulate him as the entire council. This time, we'll move on to the next resolution.
Next resolution is seeking approval of the Director of the Division of Local Government Services for insertion of a special item of revenue in the amount of $18,177 for the Childhood Lead Exposure Prevention Program grant.
This also will be moved and seconded by the entire council as per a discussion at the workshop meeting. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, would you call the roll?
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilman Toll. Yes. Council President Albanese.
Yes.
Okay, number 4 is accepting a $40,000 grant from the National Fitness Campaign Grant Committee and Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey to promote and implement a free-to-the-public outdoor fitness court.
Do you have a motion, council?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. Do you have a second?
I'll second that, please.
Thank you, Councilman Hund. Did you want to comment further, Mr. Ulrich?
Yeah, I mean, this is a grant that we're looking to get to have outdoor fitness equipment. It is similar to gym type of equipment, but it's all outside. It's all made for outside. We're also going to be looking for a Union County Recreation grant to offset the vast majority of the additional expenditures associated with this. Again, back to our Healthy Community Mayor's Wellness Campaign. These are the different types of things that we're looking to branch out and have equipment for all people.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, would you call the roll?
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Albanese.
Yes.
Number 5 is council as the Board of Health, authorizing the health officer to enter into a memorandum of agreement with Rutgers University for comprehensive tuberculosis services for residents in an amount not to exceed $3,506.60.
Do you have a motion, council?
Yes, I'll move it.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Do you have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. Any questions or discussion on this? Pretty straightforward as discussed at our workshop meeting. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Albanese.
Yes.
Okay, number 6 is authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding with the County of Union and HVI Services for leaf composting at the Union County Conservation Center in the amount of $4 per cubic yard loose or $6 compacted.
Do you have a motion, council?
Yes, I'll move this as well.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Do I have a second?
I'll second that, please.
Thank you, Councilman Hund. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, would you call the roll?
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Albanese.
Yes.
Number 7 is authorizing the chief financial officer to cancel the remaining balance in the Municipal Alliance Grant in the amount of $5,318 for the period July 2023 through June 2024.
Do you have a motion, council?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. Do you have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilman Minetti. Roll call, Madam Clerk?
Can I just interject a second
Sure.
for you? I believe that was just excess money that we don't need to use, Jim?
Yeah, like any of these projects, we estimate what it's going to cost. At the end of the day, we have a final number, and it just happened that it was less, but we were already granted the matching portion of the money, so we're returning the money.
Okay, at this time, we'll move on to the consent agenda resolutions. Oh, sorry, roll call.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Albanese.
Yes. Okay, now we will move on to consent agenda resolutions.
First item on consent is authorizing the tax collector to refund overpayment of sewer fees in the amount of $420. Number 9 is authorizing the tax collector to refund overpayment of taxes in the amount of $21,561.71. And 10 is authorizing the tax collector to settle a tax appeal for Block 71, Lot 14.0101, as authorized by the Tax Court of New Jersey, with credit issued in the amount of $220,130.02.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adopt, council?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilman Maniti. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, would you call the roll?
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Maniti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Albanese.
Yes. Madam Clerk, do you have any new business on the calendar?
There is no new business.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move on to the public comments section of the meeting. I'd like to open up the meeting to the public. If there's anyone who wishes to come forward, please come forward, state your name and your address to the clerk, and direct your comments directly to the council. Is there anyone wishing to come forward?
Good evening. Delia Collins, Clark, New Jersey. I just wanted to have it on the TV station also regarding the rabies clinic that's coming up on November 7th for Township residents. And basically, any resident of New Jersey can go to any rabies clinic throughout the state. But this has been published on rclark.com. It's November 7th, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pre-registration is required, and walk-ins are not permitted. And it's going to be, I assume, at 430 Westfield Avenue on November 7th.
Yes, it is.
Regarding the reservoir, I attended the October 7th workshop meeting, and I had asked if we had heard from Union County or Mr. Oatman regarding any decision by the New Jersey Highway Authority for travel of watercraft underneath the parkway. Were you able to reach him, Mr. Ovich?
I have had 3 conversations with him. He still doesn't have anything official in writing, but he is working on it.
Oh, also, back to the animals, just so people know in Clark, our animal control is Associated Humane in Newark, and they're overwhelmed with animals. So if you're thinking about adopting a pet now or in the new year, please consider Newark Humane instead of purchasing a pet. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for mentioning the rabies. It's very rare to find rabies cases in the United States. It's really very minimal. However, in this recently, there were, I believe, 2 or 3 raccoons in Middlesex County that had rabies. So it is a serious issue. Is there anyone else wishing to come forward?
Hello, John Greaves, 30 Parkway Drive. There's 2 things I kind of want to talk about. The first was the Department of Public Works. I was looking at the budget, and from like 2015 all the way through 2022, I saw that there was 19 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees. And then in 23, it dropped down to 16 full-time employees. And then this year's budget is 14 full-time employees. So it seems like we lost 5 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees in the last 2 years. And I know that services are a big deal in the town, and I just wasn't sure how that fits into the...
You said about the services?
I know that that's an important part of our services that are provided, and that's just something that it seems like we're dealing with fewer people fewer people working in the DPW. The second thing that I wanted to talk about was, you guys mentioned some things about the school budget last year or last month, and I think there was a couple things that I think not the full picture was presented. So you basically said that the school budget this year was a little over $37 million, and you said that the student enrollment, was that not right? The tax levy? Okay, well, just take my word for it for the moment, but if I'm wrong, I'm happy to adjust my thinking on it. From what I understood, the budget was 37 million, and you said that the student enrollment went down, and you said, the school got the money they requested. This was in response to the issues that I had been having with the pilot program. And we can confirm the 37. I just went with what was said at the meeting. But compared to 2023, that's actually a $1.2 million increase. So even if the enrollment went down, the school taxes that people are paying are up $1.2 million. And that's, if that number is correct, that you stated at the council meeting, that's the biggest increase in the last 10 years. Not by a ton, there were some that were almost that much. It was something that, we should have mentioned that who's paying for that, right? It wasn't the people that, it wasn't the developers who gave a pilot agreement to. It's the Clark taxpayer that has to pay that full $1.2 million increase. And at the same time, there was a little over $600,000 in tax breaks that could have covered more than half the school levy increase, but because of the pilot agreement, residents shouldered the entire cost of the increase. And you also didn't mention the Walnut Hill development, how many students actually came from there. You just mentioned the total enrollment in the schools. And I actually sent a OPA request to the school, and they sent back and they said there's actually 28 students that are coming from that development. So there's 28 new students coming from that development, but they are not, none of the money they're paying is actually contributing to the school budget. The taxpayers, the residents outside of that are handling that. And, I'm not upset at the students. It's not their fault. I think it's, I just don't like the deal that you guys made, and I think that is responsible for that. I guess, I understand running the town is not simple, but it's not hard to present the whole picture, and I'm asking you just please stop making these pilot deals in a situation where it's going to be adding money to our, or not adding money to our schools. And basically, it's pushing the burden onto the residential taxpayers and away from the businesses. And it'd be great if we could minimize mitigate the issue that's caused by the deal that you guys already made. I know that there was an ordinance that said you could add money to the schools when they passed when they passed the resolution to do the agreement. There was also an option to increase some of the funding, take some of the pilot money that you guys receive and give it to the schools, and maybe we could do that to help offset it, because 28 students is about $560,000 that the school has to take on, and we'd like to offset that as much as possible. That's it. Thank you very much for your time.
Anyone else wishing to come forward?
Nancy Twaskis, 43 Colonial Drive. With the affordable housing, I don't understand why all the time affordable housing has to be brand new facilities built for affordable housing. Why can't existing apartments or dwellings be converted into affordable housing? Just seems like we're running out of space. I really don't want to see Clark filled with high-rises. And every single piece of property that gets torn down, now we have to be burdened with additional apartment buildings in town, and can't we convert something that's already here? Plus, I hate to be kind of, not really jealous, because I don't want to really live in an apartment, but the affordable housing units end up being brand new luxury apartments that people get for affordable housing. It just doesn't seem like it's right for everybody else that's paying through the nose. And I really don't feel like hearing about how we're not really paying for it. We're all really paying for it. People are living, not having to pay the rent that everybody else is paying, and everybody else is paying more in order for the other people to pay less. So, I don't know, it just seems we're always talking about new units, new units, new units, new units, and I just don't understand why it always has to be new. Thank you.
Okay, there are several ARC homes in this township, and those count towards affordable housing units. And those are residences that disabled people live in, and those are counted as affordable housing units. So it's not always new units. I don't think the units are luxury. I think they're different. So, for example, one of the age-restricted development, the units are not the same. So they are made affordable, and they're built there, but they're not the same as luxury apartments. I don't know if you want to add, Mr. Ulrich, to that
Madam
as well.
President, they are, by the state law, they have to be the same. They have to have the same amenities and
They have the same amenities, but you're not going to get a granite countertop. You might get a different type of countertop, things like that.
Yeah.
You're not going to get underground parking. You're parked out in the lot. There are some differences in how they put it together. And that's how the developer will try to save money and make it more affordable for them to build it in accordance with the requirements of the percentage that they're committing to. So it may not add up too much, I don't know, but, underground parking versus outdoor parking, things like that are what they do.
Didn't we also look into having already established apartments and having them reduce the rent and making it up as affordable housing, and they said no?
They didn't say no, so there is that possibility. The issue that you're going to run into is that we would have to refurbish them on the township's dime. We do have the development fees that we're charging. However, we're primarily using those for the first month's rent, as you know, as we approve in council. So you're going to need a lot of money to refurbish them, and then also make up the delta between market rate and affordable rate. That's why it makes more sense to do it from a new building perspective. The investor calculates that in their total return of capital, and we've worked through it, and I'm working through it now on 27 Westfield Avenue. But what's going to end up happening is their rent is stipulated on their taxes are stipulated on the amount of rent that they get. So that's how they do the offset, and that's how the town has a soft cost, so to say, to get to that point. So we could do it. It's just it will cost a bit of money, and it's not like we have to make the last 10 or 15, right? Now we need, 300 and change, of which we have, don't hold me to this number, I think about 105 already. So we still need 230 or so more units. Can we chip away at the side? Possibly for 10, 15, but that's still not going to take care of the bulk of our issue.
Right, I think it's very difficult for a smaller town to do it, but there are larger towns that have formed housing corporations, and they use their developer fees. As Mr. Ulrich said, they take the developer fees and then buy homes, and then refurbish them, do whatever's needed. They'll buy the home, refurbish it, and then they form a affordable house.
But those are usually municipalities or cities that have a significant commercial base where
Absolutely.
It's not going to fall on the residential, because if we did that, we would have to have some of that fall on the residents. And back to what Nancy was saying, it's going to hit the taxpayers again.
Also, you need a lot of development going on in the town. There's pilots and things like that feed it, because you need development, construction going on, and a lot of towns don't have the land left, such as in our case. The areas identified are not really readily available right now to build any housing. So, is anyone else wishing to come forward?
Good evening, everyone. Ogre, good evening. Folks on council who actually have to be here, good evening. Those of you who don't know, I'm Mike Schulman. I live at 382 Carolina Street. Coming here, did the math, 2.5 years. Anytime.
No comments from the audience, please. Otherwise, you'll be removed.
So I was saying 2.5 years, and I gotta say I put my money where my mouth is and have put myself out there as maybe the polar opposite of what we had in terms of government these last 24 years. And we were told it wasn't you on the tapes, and it was, and there was nothing wrong, and the AG report refuted that. And we've come sort of full circle. I stood up here 2.5 years ago, and I looked at the 7 of you. It's not about Mayor Bonacorso at this point. This is a council meeting, and you're the council members. And I looked at all of you, and I had questions that were unanswered, that you knew the answers to, we found out. And I had questions about what you personally thought of everything that's gone on over the last, what we know, 4 years and probably a lot longer. And we still don't have answers. So I'm going to ask you tonight another question or set of questions to see maybe if you're still either in the dark about what's going on still, or you really know and still aren't telling us. So what could I be referring to? Well, November 5th is a really important date. I'm not here really to make an election speech. What's an important date, though? It's November 6th. It's November 6th. Well, it's not just the day after Election Day, although it's important for my point. Because November 6th, the mayor has another scheduled appointment. Currently scheduled to go back to the courthouse in Union County. It's currently scheduled to potentially enter a guilty plea. That's on the calendar, or a copy. Happy to share it with you. Scheduled to stop saying the investigation's bogus and bunk and people are out to get him. But my concern goes back to all of you and the folks who listen, and the folks who watch, and the folks who we've talked to. Because if that is to happen, if that plea agreement does go through, and all expectations are it is, it's on the calendar. Again, weirdly enough, after the election. But whenever it does go through, statute's clear. That person has to forfeit their office. That person can no longer serve. So we are at a position right now, there's a date that a judge in the Superior Court expects our mayor to show up and change his plea to guilty. I don't know for what, but that's on the calendar. And if that is to happen, whether it's the 6th, the 26th, or sometime next year, he can't be mayor anymore. People are going to vote in 2 weeks. They should know that. They should know that if they pull that lever, they're not getting the mayor. They're getting the BA, because that's what our law says here in Clark. The BA takes over. And Jim, we've gotten along, but no one knows they're voting for Jim, right? That's important. So I don't know whether the 7 of you knew that. I don't know if the 7 of you care. But I'm hopeful that maybe after this meeting and learning that information, you do something you haven't done for years. Just ask the man the important questions. I appreciate the civic engagement and most of the time the respect a lot of you give. And I look forward to whether or not Election Day goes one way or the other, you're still going to see me here. I'm still going to be advocating for what I believe is right for this town, but my town. I don't need to put 40 or 50 or 60 years in it to call it my town. I live here, pay my taxes, send my child to school here, and you're going to keep hearing from me until we take seriously everything in that AG report, and everything it left out that we all still know about. Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to come forward?
Hello, Glenn Fogarty, Goodman's Crossing off Lake Avenue. So, I've appeared at the last few council meetings. Well, first of all, Mr. Schulman, to address his comments, he comes from a party that thinks allegations are convictions, particularly false allegations in kangaroo courts from corrupt prosecutors. So again, he seems to be convicting someone before there's been adjudication. He should have learned that in law school, that that's not quite the case. But in the land of kangaroo court Democrat politics, the allegation is the conviction, because all you need to do is slander. So I'm going to talk tonight about a group of leftist candidates who call themselves Stronger Clark. Their motto should be slander, not solutions, because That's all they have. This group claims they want to restore honesty, integrity, and transparency to our town governments. I find these claims to be completely ludicrous given their shifty behavior and their dodging of questions on social media. In past appearances, I've talked about how they block people, how they answer questions with more questions, which I call sophistry, and how they've engaged in ethnic profiling of people with Italian last names and Irish last names and Slavic last names, that they block them from their page. I'm not going back to a society where people say Irish need not apply. And Mr. Schulman or his proxies, they block people who have lived in this town for decades, including myself. They don't want dialogue. They just want to spout their far-left views, their woke views. Stronger Clark are like used car salesmen on 1 and 9. Aside from their incessant stream of insults and lies about our town, its residents, and our council and mayor, as he did with his little diatribe tonight, they spout meaningless platitudes about making Clark more vibrant, which means woke, rainbow, whatever, and provide zero financial details as to how they're going to be so much better. All they offer is slander, not solutions, especially Mike. In reality, the only things Stronger Clark will make stronger and higher are taxes, regulations, radical woke educational policies, and government control over every aspect of your life, including secret tape recordings of people. Yeah, they've done a lot of that too. In contrast, what they'll definitely make a lot weaker is our law enforcement as they're allied with defund the police, radical Sue Altman. Their claims of fiscal responsibility are a joke. Who ever heard of a radical Democrat that will tax or spend less? Who are these people, as Jerry Seinfeld would ask? Well, I'm going to tell you. Each candidate they've put up, with the exception of Mr. Bill Gribb, who's a real Clark guy and not really a real Democrat anyway, is a big zero in terms of financial qualifications, business experience, business qualifications, municipal government qualifications. Unlike yourself, Ms. Albanese, who's a CPA and a CFO of a major town, and the rest of you who are successful business people, what are they? Now, I'm a Gen X guy, and we grew up watching a lot of Sesame Street. And there was a shady character on Sesame Street called Lefty the salesman. And he would come up to Ernie and say, "Hey, you want to buy an O?" Well, what Mikey, Leftist the salesman, comes up with, he wants to say, "You want to buy a zero?" Because that's what he's offering in terms of business experience, in terms of financial acumen. He has nothing. Is he a financial professional? No. Has he built and run a successful business? No. Has he managed a town? No. He's a crim defense lawyer. And what do crim defense lawyers do? They keep criminals and drunk drivers out of jail or put them back onto the streets to the detriment of law-abiding citizens. Only reason this guy wants to get local control of our police department back so he can wield power over it and further his soft on crime agenda. He has vowed to fire our police chief and who knows how many other officers that won't obey his woke whims. It's also well known that Stronger Clark's most ardent supporters want to replace our police officers with social workers, as if that's worked anywhere. If I'm angry, seem angry, I am, because I'm sick of his slandering our town. When Mike ran for council the last time, he said he would question the values of the people of this town if he didn't win. Now he's back, and anyone who doesn't vote for him must be a racist, according to his doctrine. If you do vote for him, Mike will wave his magic wand over you and declare that you're no longer a racist.
Mr. Fogarty, you're going to have to wrap it up.
Yes, he's a one-trick pony. Never mind his own hypocritical adherence to skin-color-based Marxist dogmas like critical race theory. He just doesn't seem to like this town or its people very much. Why does he want to be mayor of a town he clearly hates, except to harm it? He's just over the border from Cranford.
Okay, I'm going to have to cut you off.
So, you know what? Just one more thing, Mike. I've never heard you say anything nice about this town or its people or our council. And I say bravo to this council that have done such a great job for these past 20 years. May it be another 20 years with other like-minded people. Thank you and good night.
Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
there anyone else wishing to come forward? Seeing no one, I'd like a motion to close this section of the meeting. Thank you, Councilman Toll. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councilman O'Connor. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, we are going to move on to mayor, council, and professional comments.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Mr. Shulman came up here tonight and told me something that I had no idea about, entering a guilty plea on November 6th. I just texted my attorney, although he has talked to the Attorney General's office over several months. I will not be entering a guilty plea on November 6th. So I guess that's the October surprise. I have a right, if I feel to enter into a plea. I have a right to fight the case that is still being talked about. And to let the community know, because I'm sick of listening to this crap, I am being brought up on misconduct for using township personnel and office equipment. And I did. I used the public fax machine 1.7 times per month, average, over a 7-year period, and that's documented, and a handful of emails. I do not run my business at a town hall. I guarantee you, in every government building in this state, people have used the fax machine or their computer for a personal assistance to a doctor, an insurance company, whatever the case may be. This is another weaponization against a MAGA Republican because something I said that was recorded, and I did, and I apologize, that was in a casual conversation, what I to believe with an extortionist, turned around and got publicized to portray me as a racist. But I will tell this community, to this day, not one person of color has ever come to that microphone, to a newspaper, to a news media company that says Sal Bonacorso ever discriminated against anyone. It's not true. Maybe I used poor language in the Quick Check parking lot telling this individual who went to the press because he was being looked at for taking free garbage cans from the city of Linden, all documented, to save his own butt and try to incriminate others and make others look bad who did their job and did it very well. If you walk off the street right now, well, not right now, building's closed, anytime tomorrow between 8 and 4 o'clock, and ask any one of our staff in the building, I have papers, and many senior citizens do this each and every day. Each and every day. Can you fax this to my insurance company? Can you fax this to my doctor? Can you do this? We don't have fax capabilities. We do it as a service to our citizens in our community. That's a fact. Our fax is a bulk bill. We don't get charged individually for doing it. It's not $1 or $5 or $10 a copy. It's a part of a bulk bill. That's what I'm being depicted as a criminal when this is done in every single office. And to just warn anybody that wants to enter the government arena, if you're sitting in a mayor's office or in town halls of council perhaps, and you have an email to your phone that you would like to answer on a computer, and you turn to that computer and you go onto your private email and you answer that email, you have broken the law in the state of New Jersey. In the state of New Jersey. That's what I'm being depicted for. Not using public works trucks and men and labor. Yes, I asked a girl to fax it for me, one of my administrative assistants. It took maybe 20 or 30 seconds to do it. That's what you depict somebody with a clean record of 24 years about? And they charge you with misconduct to grab you by your earlobes. If we were outside in the Quick Check parking lot, I would have used another vernacular. Okay, you can imagine what it is. To try to squeeze you out of office when they know that what they have is garbage. Garbage. And that is what the fight is about right now. There's no November 6th resignation or plea agreement. That I can tell you straight out. I just texted my lawyer who was away. He says, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'll talk to you tomorrow about it. Right now I did it. Okay? And to turn the page, you know, we have politics and who's getting up and who's running and who's doing this and who's doing that. Folks, I'm going to ask you a very simple question. You make the decision. I'm not going to get into a diatribe about firing the police chief because that's ridiculous. You can't do it. Never had a hearing. The Attorney General's office screwed that up too. You want to go into that for a moment? I will. Just a moment. Union County Prosecutor's Office did an investigation. The AG didn't like the findings. They opened up a 3-year investigation. That's as far as I can go with it right now. We don't like what you got. Let me go find something. You can't fire a civil service employee without having a hearing unless they were charged of a major crime. Yes, if the police chief was caught with cocaine in his car or something of that nature, then you could suspend without pay. Until it happens, you have to have a 45-day. They have 45 days to charge the officer and have appropriate hearing. I listened tonight about the school going up $1 million something. Maybe they did. What was the revenue they laid against that? I don't have the numbers in front of me. I couldn't tell you honestly. Was that all in a tax increase? Health insurance goes up, pensions go up, salaries go up, just like in the municipality. We're back on the pilot program. We're back on going on. Schools got 37 less people than they did last year. 37 less. They ended the year with a $3 million and change. Don't quote me to the penny. I don't have it in front of me. But they've been ending with an average of $3 million surplus. The school has no need. I read tonight on Stronger Clark, not that I want to visit that too often. It's the twist and turn website of the community, that if Mr. Shulman's the mayor, he's going to make sure that he gets involved with the universal pre-care program. And I'm not quoting, I'm giving you a gist of what went on. You can read it for yourself. Because he's going to want to ensure the locations and get involved with that school district. What Mr. Shulman doesn't get, the mayor has no authority over the school district whatsoever, nor does the council people. We have a very good friendship and working relationship, and we do and have. 24 years ago, the mayor, the council, the superintendent, and the Board of Education couldn't stand each other. It was a fracas every time they got together. It was bad. I put that together. We assist, we work with the schools. We give them the salt for their buildings on snow and ice days. We work with them in many, many different ways that I don't want to go over. Even the preschool for the special ed children at Brewer that saves somewhere between $2 to $3 million per year. We do everything that we possibly can do to keep as much money in the classrooms. We have people who got into town shortly and are experts on the school district. Do you see anybody here from the Board of Education or the superintendent complaining about the pilot program? I saw tonight that out of a $200,000 pilot rebate we had, tax refund we had to give back, that Clark Township ate it all. And technically, in collecting that $200,000, again, just for rough numbers, $100,000 was from the school. Another $50,000 was from the county, and another $50,000 from the township. We ate it all. Last month, we ate $100,000 in tax appeals. We provide all the services in this community. Safety, schools, we work with them, and all the services we have to give. Police, fire, first aid, you heard that earlier this evening. A lot of things that we have to do and pay for. At the end of the day, when you have an area that's in need of redevelopment, the old A&P, let's start there. Let's start there, the old A&P, sat vacant. Developers want to develop it through a pilot program because by giving 15% in affordable housing, 15% in affordable housing, they can't build that building and have a return on their investment that they would like to have. This is going on throughout the state. We talked about this for months and months. Here's what I'm going to tell you as far as the election. I'm tired. I don't want to listen to it anymore. It's getting more and more ridiculous each and every day. November 5th, you go into the voting booth. You make a determination. If you were here 24 years ago plus, you know the mess I took over from the Ellenport administration. You didn't have a third of what you have today in this community, not a third. If you moved here in the last 24 years, why did you move here? Was it about the safety, the schools, and the services? Probably so. Safe community, good schools, great services, whether it's DPW, recreation, or whatever other service you want to talk about. We'll put that record. If you choose me, thank you. We'll serve and be proud of it. If you choose him, that's the way cookie crumbles, the way I look at it. We've been hit with a mountain of innuendo, conversation for the last 4 years. Mr. Fogarty's right. Mr. Shulman said 2 years ago, and when he was soundly defeated in the second ward on election morning, if the Clark voters, if the Democrats do as bad, again, paraphrasing, one part I won't paraphrase, I'll give it to you. This is a paraphrase, this part. If the Democrats don't do better than we've done in Clark in the past elections, and the quote was, I have to wonder about their values. Mr. Shulman was living in Clark maybe 4 or 5 years at the time, I don't really know. 4 or 5 years, I believe. He is going to question your values, Clark. He's going to be the values mayor. Your standards, your values better meet his standards, because he's going to call into question an entire community's values, just like the leftists, Marxists do, just like the woke. If you don't think the way they think, you're wrong. Not that it's a conversation, an agree to disagree. We all do that. No one's going to think alike. But that's what the values mayor will do. Don't agree with him, he'll call your values into question. Because he's Lord Jesus Christ. He lives in the most highest values and standards of any person in the world. And with this, I'm tired, I'm done. Clark, have a great night. Thank you so much. We'll see you next month.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Hund.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to congratulate Officer Caprini being sworn in tonight. May he do a wonderful job on the job and stay safe and come home every night. To his future wife, who we met tonight. Congratulations both to Alan and Gary for their unbelievable dedication for the past 50 years to the Clark Volunteer Emergency Squad. Those two feats are unbelievable to me. That's a long-term commitment, more so than marriage almost, I would say. I think they've been working there longer than most people have been married, so kudos to them. And then also, just as normal, thank you to our current police force for the services that they do, the drive-bys they do every night to keep it on town safe, and that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Hund. Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. To Alan and Gary, I've known you both for many, many years. Congratulations for your 50 years of service to our community. God bless you both, and all who services to protect our community and our residents. Please, ladies and gentlemen, lock your vehicle and your residence doors at all times. And if you see, hear, or suspect something, please call RPD. They're going to respond quickly to ensure your safety and well-being. Until next month, be well, God bless, and stay safe. Good night.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Councilman Minetti.
Thank you, Council President. As we're closing on Election Day, I would like to take this time to remind everyone to please exercise your right to vote. On Tuesday, November 5th, Susan B. Anthony once said, "Someone struggled for your right to vote, so use it." 4 years ago, I was elected to from the people of Clark to serve as your councilman at large. It's been an honor, and I thank you for the opportunity. And I truly believe that our town, led by Mayor Salvana Corso, our business administrator Jim Ulrich, and the other members of this council have always put this community first. I am proud to call this town my home, and the people that sit here next to me my friends. For 50 years, I've been a part of the Clark community. And like other members on council, I went to these schools and graduated from Johnson. I walked on these fields not only as a player, but also coaching my children and those of their neighbors' friends. Some of my dearest friends still wear the Clark Police, Firemen, and EMS uniforms, and I am proud of our police department, led by Captain Akabu and Captain Lott. I'm proud of our EMS and our fire department, led by Chief Sarasa, and the great job they do serving our community. I appreciate the hard work of our DPW, led by Scott McCabe, and I'm grateful for all the men and women that work hard at our township offices and truly humbled to work on this team. Clark will always be my hometown, and I will continue to work hard to ensure that all of the residents are also proud to call it theirs too. Mr. Shulman, I just want to address one comment you made. That you get to the microphone and you said, "This is my town." It's not your town, it's our town. And I will fight for our town and make sure that all the decisions that we make are right for our community. That concludes my report. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Minity. Councilman O'Connor.
Thank you very much. First off, I'd like to obviously thank Gary Wagner and Alan Riley for the 50 years of dedication. I've had the opportunity to work with the squad as the liaison for a long time, and I know they're very highly regarded in that organization, as you can see by the outpouring of people they had here tonight. One thing they forgot to mention about Alan Riley that people in town here probably know already, but this is my opinion. He is probably the best and most helpful employee there ever was at Town Hardware. Right? When I first bought my house here, I didn't know what I was doing. I go into Town Hardware and I'd just find him, and he'd explain to me how things worked and what I needed to buy. And against company policy, I'm sure he helped me put a few things together in the store so I could take it home and not have to struggle. So, Alan, congratulations, and thank you very much for all your help. As Bill mentioned, Unico, they get a great organization. They give a lot back to the town. Thousands of people over the weekend. But that could never happen without not only the organization, but a lot of the volunteers as well. So thank you to them. Get out and vote, right? Whether you vote for one side or the other, just get out and vote. People died for your right to vote. Please don't let it go by the wayside. I know in the ward elections, there's about a 20% turnout in our town, and I know it's not 100% either for the presidential one. So the government has made it a lot easier for everyone to vote, early voting, mail-in ballots, and in person. So if you don't vote, it's a choice. It's not an excuse. So please get out there and vote. And one last thing, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. If you need to reach out, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 800-799-7233, and the video phone for deaf survivors is 1-855-812-1001. Thank you very much. Have a good night, and I'll see you at the polls.
Thank you, Councilman O'Connor. Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Madam President. Congratulations to Police Officer Michael Cipriani, and also congratulations to Alan and Gary. And a quick story on Gary. I was at the Unico Festival for probably 40 hours over 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And needless to say, I was exhausted Sunday night cleaning up around 10 o'clock or so, and there was Gary still. He was there all day, every day, and picking up garbage and helping us clean up and helping us set up. And he's a few years older than me, but 50 years on the squad, and he's still spry. So congratulations, and I appreciate all the help he gave us at the feast. That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. Councilman Toll.
Thank you, Madam President. Here we go again. Halloween is coming up. Please be careful when you're out and about. The way the light is, as the sun's setting earlier and earlier, it's a little bit more difficult as you get older. But just be careful with the kids out trick or treating. And yes, hopefully they be done and get all their trick and all their candies by dusk. To Officer Ciparelli, nothing but safe tour of duty, and always have in the back of your mind Billy Watterson. He didn't go home that one night, and it can happen to anybody, anytime, anywhere. To those we lost in the last month, Mary Gaius, 99 years of age, 50 years in Clark. Vincent LaCory, longtime employee of the Clark Board of Education. He was a maintenance with 50 years in one job, awesome. Over 50 years living in Clark, a Navy veteran, he gave back to his community. Stephen Cantorino, lifetime resident of Clark, devoted friend to many. So I'm going to end with this. You, the citizens of Clark, have democracy in action. You have a right to go out and be heard and get your voice heard if you so desire. And that's on November 5th. You go to a poll and you vote. I'm not going to tell you how to vote, but I'm going to say this to you. I always believe in keeping this township clean, green, safe, and historic. And I know the one person who's been doing it for 24 years is going to continue doing it the way we want it, and safe and honorable, with a great job, Mr. Mayor. And to all the members of council, we wish you nothing but success and good luck. That's what I'll have to say tonight. To all, get out and vote and be heard.
Thank you, Councilman Toll. I would like to start out by, in addition to the other congratulations and celebrations we had this evening, congratulate Captain Akabu for being Hometown Hero, awarded by Congressman Kane on October 11th. So congratulations on that award. We heard the great resume that Captain Akabu mentioned with our new officer, Michael Cipriani. We wish him the best of luck. And it is just wonderful to be here this night for me to honor Alan Riley and Gary Wagner. I mean, 50 years, that's totally amazing. And that's really the fabric of Clark. That's what makes it a great place to live, to be in a small town where you can have personal exchanges with the people who are involved in these things. I do want to talk about some of the things that came up at this meeting and some things that have come up in the past. You know, Mr. Schulman asked for our personal opinions, and a lot of comments are made about what do you think about term limits and this and that. And I did address this once before, but I think it's a good example of the types of things that those candidates bring up. They kept questioning us, what do you feel about term limits? Give us your personal opinion. Give us your opinion. In April, I did mention to them that under the charter that the town is under, the Faulkner Act, NJSA, which is the Statutes of New Jersey, 4069, under the Faulkner Act that we're under, we do not have the authority. We cannot pass an ordinance to change term limits. As I said, I do support term limits. Come out and vote for who you want to vote for. But the bottom line of it is we cannot have a referendum. We cannot prepare an ordinance to change any state statutes that contradict the ordinances of the township. So again, just an example of the types of things we're constantly badgered about. We brought the answer to you, and that is the answer. We cannot change the Faulkner Act. Another thing that I've been asked by Mr. Greaves, don't you research, don't you go to the department heads and talk to them about what they're doing? Why are they doing this? As I've explained to him in private conversations, that is not consistent with the state statutory law of what a council person does under the Faulkner Act. Okay? So, under the Faulkner Act, the council exercises legislative power over the township. They prepare a budget. They're required to prepare a budget. They're required to have an audit done and conduct legislative meetings. If the mayor objects to something that we do, he can veto it, but we can override it. But we are not responsible for supervising the staff of the township. If we want to have a meeting, if we have questions, I address them to the business administrator who runs the departments on behalf of the mayor, or to the mayor. If a meeting is needed with one of the department heads, the business administrator will gather the information or have me meet with him and the department head. So again, it's just a total misunderstanding of our form of government, not doing any research, coming up with questions and facts, and some of them even contradict themselves. The Faulkner Act is under the optional municipal charter law. You can find it right online. You just Google it. It's all there, 60 pages. One section relates to the form of government that the Township of Clark has. But even this evening, John Greaves comes up, talks about the budget for the schools. And as I've mentioned in the past, he feels that pilots take away money from the schools. The school gets whatever they ask for. You mentioned their budget went up, and they got the money they required. The pilots have nothing to do with the schools' funding, nothing to do with school funding. In this case, the township gave the money, the share of the money they got from the pilot, back to the schools. We had a hard time finding anyone else who even did that, and whether it was legal to do it. On one hand, you're asking, why did the school budget go up? On the other hand, you're telling me schools in Clark, the teachers in Clark don't make enough money, which again, I have nothing to do with that. You have to go to Board of Education meetings and talk to the Board of Education members. As far as stopping pilot deals, there are blighted areas in the town that need to be addressed, and as I said, one has nothing to do with the other. If I didn't answer all of your questions, Mr. Greaves, that you brought up, because I couldn't follow what were facts that you were presenting versus questions, please get in touch with me, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. In closing, I would like to encourage everyone, no matter which way you vote, to come out and vote on November 5th. And as was mentioned by the mayor, it's just fantastic that our township is going to have preschool for free for ages 3 through 5 that aren't in kindergarten. And we were very innovative. I guess it was around 2007 when we made the decision, and it was various committees that were involved with the superintendent at the time to go ahead and invest in full-day kindergarten. It's a tremendous asset to the community. I think that's one of the reasons why people do come to Clark. People are very happy with that, and this is just the icing on the cake. And again, congratulations to the whole Board of Education. And that concludes my comments for this evening. I'd like to ask Mr. Ulrich if he has anything to add as a report of the officer of the township.
Yeah, I also want to congratulate both Alan, who was actually one of my training officers, 20, 30 years ago, yes, almost now. He, took you out patient and worked with every single one of the members. And I also, from Bill's perspective, Garfield, as we all call him in the squad, he has that energy at 2 o'clock in the morning. So after getting dragged out of bed for an ambulance call and having a full conversation for 20 minutes on the way to the scene, it's not something that you want to do. But he always has that energy 24/7, 365, and he's been always dedicated to the squad. So I want to congratulate both of those, on 50 years. It is definitely an accomplishment. The time, the effort to, keep up your training and get out all of the time is just, for a volunteer, it takes a lot. So I want to congratulate both of them. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, big day coming up.
Thank you. I just want to talk a little bit about the ways you can vote in this election. I've had a number of questions in the last couple of weeks, and people are a little bit confused. So I want to just let you know, the sample ballots are all out. That is a large folded piece of paper with red ink on it. Those are your sample ballots. The reason you might want to keep that sample ballot is it has a barcode on the front. It's not absolutely necessary, but it makes it quicker at the polls. There are now electronic poll books, and that barcode can be scanned, and your name comes up a lot quicker than if they have to search it. So that is a valuable piece of paper if you still have it, if you didn't throw it out. Some people are confused thinking that is your mail-in ballot. You can tell the mail-in ballot because it comes in a bright yellow envelope. So if you've applied to vote by mail, it comes in a bright yellow envelope. You want to step-by-step follow those instructions. It's very specific, and you want your vote to count. So we have the drop box at our building, or you can put your mail-in at any drop box throughout Union County. And the third way you can vote is early. Early voting starts on October 26th, and it runs through November 3rd. The hours are Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Sunday from 10 to 6. So it's very convenient. You can go, Clark does not have an early voting location, but the two closest locations for Clark residents would be either Union College, which is on Springfield Avenue in Cranford, or the Rowway Recreation Center at 275 East Milton Avenue. I have a whole list in my office. You can take it if you want. You can call me. You can email me. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer all of your questions. So I agree with council. Get out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Councilman Toll. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councilman Minetti. All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned.